Now we're going to talk about how I prepare my list, and it's kind of a takeoff on what my mom used to do, and it works for me. I've tried a couple of other ways, and I always end up going back to this way. My mom used to take a piece of paper and fold it in thirds, and then hang it up inside one of the pantry cupboards. And whenever we needed something, we were supposed to write down in the appropriately headed place, you know, like we had meat, then we had dairy, and we had freezer, etc., what the item was that we had either used just the last of, or just opened the last of, or whatever. Currently I leave that up to me because my husband is the only other one who would write anything on there, and he's pretty good about telling me what we run out of, or I can figure it out myself. So I get my nifty paper. I don't usually even fold it in thirds. I can just visualize that it's in thirds. And I have my little categories, and I don't put the headers on them. I can just do it. And I turn it over on the back. I write down how many days I am shopping for. So in this case, it was 2 weeks. So I needed to calculate what we needed for 14 days. Then I write down along with the dates, anything that's occurring unique on those particular dates. For instance, I have an aunt and uncle that are arriving, so I've got that down for Wednesday. Having them here is going to mean that we will go out to dinner at least once. So I'm going to calculate that into my meal planning. We have a birthday coming up in the next 2 weeks, so I'm going to calculate that into my meal planning. Next Sunday, we'll be having dinner over at my mom's house. I'm going to calculate that into my meal planning. And then one day we're going to go to Six Flags, so we won't be home for dinner. So I write down those things, like the birthday. So then I make a list of 1 through 14 for the number of days. I fill in from the bottom of the things that I know we're going to have. So for instance, the birthday, dinner at mom's, Six Flags, out. And that leaves me 10 meals that I need to come up with. So then I kind of look through what I have in my freezer and in my pantry, try and use some of the things that I have so that we can kind of rotate frozen meat through, that sort of thing. And then I take a look at whatever store I've decided to shop at. I look at their ad, see what they have on sale, and see if I can calculate, create meals that can benefit from the sale items. So for instance, on Monday, we are going to go to a party, a Labor Day party, and hot dogs are on the menu, and I guess we're supposed to bring our own. So it's a nice thing that they have buy one, get one free Ballpark Franks available at Kroger this week. So I put that down as one of the meals. And then things that either my children have asked for, my husband has asked for, things that sound tasty to me, those things I'll kind of fill in. And generally in my house that means they're pretty easy these days. If they're very hard to do, I probably would not put them on there because it's not very likely it'll get made. How do I decide how much to keep in stock and what have you? Like I said, when I notice we're out of something, when I take the last one, those are things I'm going to fill in that are items to get for that trip, that shopping trip. I try and have at least one on hand of the things that we use the most often. Let's see, how are you prompted to plan a trip? Well, pretty much when you look in the refrigerator and it's getting kind of lean pickings, pretty much it's time to go to grocery shopping. Do you make a list of your main food and beverage, for your main food and beverage shopping trips? Yes, I do. So after I have planned out the meals, I then will take a look at the recipes for them, decide what items I have on hand for those recipes, what I need to get, and I will start putting those things down on the grocery list. I'll also fill in anything like, for instance, cereal, bread. I noticed we needed some more jam. We are getting lower on syrup, that type of thing. I know we are getting low on sugar and flour, so if there's a good price on sugar and flour, I will get some more sugar and flour. And that's kind of how I approach the beginnings of what's actually on the grocery list for that trip. It is kept in one location in my home. I have a cupboard that I have a clip on the inside door, and it lives there with the menu items face out for 2 weeks. Like, for instance, when I come back from the grocery store on Monday, then I will take this list, this new list, I will put it up on the door, and so then I can look at it and go, oh, what were we going to eat this week? Oh yeah, we were going to have a ham slice, in case I forget. Or if my husband's home and he's looking for something to make for dinner to be a nice husband, then he might do that too. Include pictures of my list. Well, this is my list. It's kind of exciting. Probably most people couldn't read it because it's my hand scratch, but it, like I said, it works for me. What about a list for a small or a quick trip? There are occasions where I do need to go make a short trip to the grocery store, and then I will just take a Post-it note or a scrap of paper or the back of an envelope or whatever's handy. I'll write down the 5 to 10 things that I need to be sure and get, and I'll just take that with me in my hand and go to the store. Who has input on my shopping list? As I said, I do take menu requests from my family. I take them from my children periodically because their requests are very often quite repetitive. A lot of mac and cheese, pizza, things that my husband and I enjoy occasionally. So I will ask him if he's got anything he'd really, really like to have. And then I try and take into consideration what we like and try and rotate it so it's not all the same things all the time, every day, every week. And so that's kind of how that works out. And then, do I use a computer or a mobile device prior to shopping to help plan? I really don't. I know there's a jillion ways you could do that. I don't, because at this moment in time, that will make it take longer. And I don't need it to take longer. I need it to be faster, shorter, easier. And that, I guess, pretty much is how I prepare my shopping list. So I'll be back with my next one of my pre-shopping savings preparation.